I call to order the Lake Havasu City Council regular meeting on Tuesday, September 26th. If I could get you to stand for invocation. Go. Pastor Suzanne Chaplain Waldron.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we come together to work for the community which we all love. We ask you to guide and direct the people who are taking care of the people who are less fortunate than we are in the Philippines and in Puerto Rico, Florida, Texas, even in North Carolina, and fires I hear in Los Angeles area. We ask you to guide the people that are going there to help, because there are people coming from all over the country to help those people. We ask you to give them what they need. Let it not be political. Let it be for the help of the people that are there that you cherish. We ask you to bless our community. Guide us in the future things that we have to do, as we know that we have a wonderful place to live, to grow, and to take care of people who live here. We bless this day. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, who taught us to say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Join me in the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, would you call the roll?
Council members Mark Nixon, Donna McCoy,
Here.
Jenny Koch,
Here.
Cal Sheehy, Michelle Lynn,
Here.
David Lane,
Here.
Gordon Grove.
Here.
Thank you. We'll now have our first call to the public. If for citizens wanting to address the council on issues within the jurisdiction of the city, your comments must be limited, please, to 5 minutes or less. And if you wish to address the council on an item that's already on tonight's agenda, please wait until that item has been announced for a public hearing. At the conclusion of the call to the public, the council will have an opportunity to respond to any comments made. And we may direct staff to review the matter at a later date or be put on a future agenda. However, members of the council are not able to discuss or take action on matters already on the agenda. There is a light up there when you go on. Please make sure the microphone's on. Green light means go, yellow light means you have 1 minute left, and the red light means your 5 minutes is done. With that, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Do any of the council members wish to remove any of our items for separate discussion?
Would you call to the public?
Oh, I got excited. We'll open call to the public. Do any members of the public wish to speak? I hear none. With that, we'll close the call to the public and open up the consent agenda. Would any of the council members like to remove any of the items at this time?
Madam Vice Mayor, motion.
Yes.
I move to approve the consent agenda as posted.
Madam Mayor, I second that motion.
Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Oh. We can start the voting. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 7 is correspondence, communication, petitions, announcements, and the city manager's report. Item 7.1 is the fourth quarter grant agency and contracted service agency reports. There is no motion necessary. It's informational only unless any council members have any questions. Nope. Item 7.2, announce vacancies on Lake Havasu City boards, committees, and commissions. Kelly?
Thank you. There are a number of vacancies on Lake Havasu City boards, committees, and commissions. The following is a listing of those vacancies. Airport Advisory Board, 1 regular pilot member, 1 alternate pilot member, and 1 alternate non-pilot member. Board of Adjustment, 6 regular members, 3 alternate members. Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, 1 regular member, 1 student member, and the Public Safety Personnel Retirement System, 1 regular member. Anyone interested can pick up a packet at City Hall, and they are also available on the city's website.
Thank you. Item 7.3, city manager's report. Charlie?
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Good evening, Council. Hot off the printer, before I get into my regular report, was a news release that came out of Arizona State Parks. And Arizona State Parks and Trails today won the gold medal for Best Managed State Park System in the nation from the National Recreation and Park Association. The award was announced this morning during the National NRPA Conference in New Orleans, Louisiana. And it goes on to state that over the last 2 years, Arizona State Parks and Trails has established a self-sufficient funding structure, achieved record visitation and revenue, and implemented a plan to reinvest in the system and create new parks. And we know that the Riviera State Park project was included in that package, so we're proud to be a part of that award. So congratulations to Arizona State Parks and Director Black. In code enforcement, as of the last report, code enforcement staff has received 30 new cases, performed 27 primary inspections, 78 follow-up inspections, sent 15 violation notices, and closed 40 cases. There are currently 59 open cases in code enforcement. In building permits, we've issued 64 residential single-family home permits. That's 10 more than the same time period last year. We issued 3 new commercial building permits. That's 1 more than the same time period last year. And performed 1,037 plan reviews. That's 226 more plan reviews than the same time period last year. And performed 2,773 building inspections. That's 125 more inspections than the same time period last year. So we're back on positive track in that area. In transportation, over half the streets affected by the last rainstorm event have been cleared, and beginning the week of October 9th, the city's street sweeping contractor will spend the next few weeks sweeping the entire city. This Friday, the Celebrate, Learn, and Participate event is going on at the Catalyst Project site down in the middle of downtown. Again, that's this Friday, September 29th, from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The Vision 2020 team invites the public to join us at the Downtown Catalyst Project site on McCulloch and Quario to celebrate, learn, and participate in the successes of our Vision 2020 plan and the America's Best Communities competition win. Should be very interesting. You probably might have noticed the white structure that's gone up down there. It's going to be very interesting. You'll be able to see the Downtown Catalyst site, the concept renderings of the plan that has been imagineered down there, and you can learn about the project of the timelines and the process for development, and can actually participate by giving feedback and conversing over the longest community table ever made in Lake Havasu City. Then on Saturday, National Public Lands Day, September 30th. National Public Lands Day is the nation's largest single-day volunteer effort for public lands. To celebrate National Public Lands Day, the Havasu Youth Advisory Council is teaming up with the Lake Havasu City Maintenance Services Division, the Bureau of Land Management, and registered volunteers to make improvements at the Sarah Park Trailhead. And although it's too late to accept new volunteers for the event, and its improvement activities, we do welcome the general public to come out and see the progress being made, visit the education booths, and attend the ribbon cutting and dedication ceremony at 9 a.m. that morning. Special events coming up. Of course, October's coming up. That's our biggest special event month of the year. The IJSBA World Finals will take place from Sunday, October 1st through Sunday, October 8th at Crazy Horse Campground. Concerts in the Park will take place on Friday, October 3rd, 13th, 20th, and 27th at London Bridge Beach, beginning at 5 p.m. The 9th annual Great Pineapple Race will take place on Thursday, October 5th at London Bridge Beach, beginning at 5 p.m. The Breast Cancer Awareness Walk will take place on Saturday, October 7th, beginning and ending at the Aquatic Center at beginning at 8 a.m. and ending somewhere around 10 a.m. The IGSBA World Finals PWC Freestyle event, which has become very popular, will take place Saturday, October 7th in the Bridgewater Channel, beginning at 5 p.m. So, Madam Vice Mayor, that's all I have for my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are there any council questions? All right. Number 8 are public hearings for the evening. Item 8.1, series number 12, liquor license for El Paricio Family Restaurant. Kelly?
Thank you. Maribel Cisneros Jimenez has applied for a Series 12 restaurant liquor license for El Paraiso Family Mexican Restaurant located at 440 El Camino Way. All posting requirements have been met, all fees have been paid, and no objections were received. The location is properly zoned for a liquor license. Staff recommends approval of this license.
Thank you, Kelly. Are there any council questions? So this is a public hearing, so I'd like to open up if there is any questions from the public or comments. Seeing none, close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Vice Mayor, motion?
Yes.
I move to recommend that the Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control approve a Series Number 12 liquor license for El Paro Family Mexican Restaurant at 440 El Camino Way.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Kelly, can you call for the vote? If there's no further questions.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 8.2, 8.2, Class A bingo license transfer of the location for the Havasu Masonic Lodge, number 64. Kelly?
Thank you. The item before you is a transfer of location of a Class A bingo license for the Havasu Masonic Lodge, number 64. This license location transfer was approved in 2014. It was originally, the application was in 2014. The transfer is from 186 London Bridge Road, which is the Knights of Columbus, to 271 Lake Havasu Avenue South, which is the Quality Inn and Suites. No objections were received from staff regarding this request. Staff recommends approval of this location transfer. And the applicant is here today if you have any questions.
Thank you, Kelly. Are there any council questions? Open it up for any public questions or comments. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Madam Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Motion.
Okay,
There, is that better? Madam Vice Mayor, I have a motion.
please.
I move to recommend that the Arizona Department of Revenue approve a Class A bingo license transfer of location for the Havasu Masonic Lodge number 64 from 186 London Bridge Road to 271 Lake Havasu Avenue South.
Second?
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. City Clerk, would you call for the vote?
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Item 8.3, adopt ordinance number 17-1186, amending Lake Havasu City Code, Chapter 8.0 8.26 fireworks to conform to state statutes. Brian.
Thank you. Good evening. This is again approval of an ordinance that was introduced at the last meeting. This is again a housekeeping item to conform to state statutes, with the most notable change being the change of permissible consumer fireworks from just on the 4th of July to the period of June 24 through July 6, and December 24 through January 3rd each year. This is a little bit of a topic that raises confusion now and then for folks, so to help that out, Steve is moments away, maybe days away, from rolling out a page that will go on our website to kind of assist with that. And just for the public's help with this beginning in December, Mr. Cassens has been kind enough to offer me December 26th to speak at Speak Out and cover this topic, so I'll be happy to do that then. So again, housekeeping with essentially change to the wording, and so we recommend approval.
Thank you. Are there any council questions?
Madam Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Just confirming that for the people that are watching on TV, the ordinance is not changing. We're just changing the wording so that the wording conforms to state law and not just city ordinance.
Correct, with the exception of the expanding of those allowable dates for consumer permissible fireworks. Those are those fountains and things that stay on the ground. At this point, it's just on the 4th of July. It would expand it to those 2 periods around the 4th of July and then in the Christmas, New Year period each year.
Excellent.
And that is, of course, what the state statute says. So quite frankly, I ask that you approve it because we've been mandated to do so.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? So we'll open up for public hearing. Are there any questions from the public? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing.
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Motion?
Please.
I move to adopt ordinance number 17-1186, amending Lake Havasu City Code, Chapter 8.26, fireworks to conform to the state status.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Call for the vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 8.4, adopting resolution number 17-3175, opposing the proposed transfers of Colorado River water to the Central Arizona Water Conservation District from the town of Quartzsite and the lands situated in the Mojave Valley Irrigation and Drainage District. Kelly?
Yes, thank you. Dr. Wilson is also going to talk about it. I'll just introduce the item really quick. This item was requested by Councilmember Grote at the last council meeting. It was also requested by the Mojave County Water Authority, asked all of its members to adopt ordinances of this nature. The Water Authority and the County of Mojave have already adopted similar resolutions, which will be presented to the Central Arizona Water Conservation District Board's meeting at the next meeting in October, where it'll be considering one of the agreements that I mentioned. I don't know if you want to take it from here, or do you want me to summarize some of the other things first?
It's up to you.
I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Wilson, and then I'll circle back if I need to.
Okay.
To further detail this a little bit, specifically Central Arizona Water Conservation District, which is part of the Central Arizona Project Group, are looking for water on the river. They're looking for water anywhere, but they're really starting to ramp it up. We are entering a new era in the water world. We've been fairly stable over the last 20 years or so because of agreements between Central Arizona on river use and Bureau of Reclamation, but the ball game is changing as we speak. There are a couple investment companies in the Mojave Valley Irrigation and Drainage District. They're not just farmers. They're actually there to invest in selling water, basically is what's happening. So Central Arizona Project has been in negotiations. They had a meeting earlier this month on the 5th to talk about it at the CAP board. They decided to defer it until October 5th, which is just next week. And at the same time, the Mojave Valley Irrigation and Drainage District is going to vote on this on Tuesday the 3rd next week. I'll be at that meeting to see what the results are of the voting. So what's at stake here is priority 4 water, about 11,000 acre feet worth, and Priority 1 water, which has never been talked about before, about 2,000 acre feet. According to our attorney for the Mojave County Water Authority, basically she believes that P1 water, priority 1 water, would take an act of Congress to move it off the river. That's her opinion. Central Arizona Project has different opinions. So this is something that could be put into the judicial system at some point if need be. Now these are things that not from us in particular, but just in general. So this is that particular situation, plus the town of Quartzsite they have actually agreed with CAP to lease their priority 4 water, about 1,000 acre feet. So that would move off the river as well. This is a precedent-setting event to take water off the river. So this is a start of a new, like I said, era, because I have learned new information that CAP is also talking, along with Salt River Project, with the Colorado River Indian tribes, the CRIT. They have priority 1 and 2, well, priority 2 water, which is equal to priority 1. And we're talking tens of thousands of acres, if not more, potentially could go off the river in lease agreements. The governor has been involved in this. Our state and congressional delegates have been involved with this, as well as the Bureau of Reclamation. So this is a discussion that's been ongoing, and it will still be ongoing, because this will be a very slow situation, because as of today, it's not legal for the Indian tribes to lease water to non-Indian entities, especially off the river. That will also take an act of Congress to approve that. So the political machine is moving in that direction, and with all the other players involved that are really big time, I think that's something we definitely need to pay attention to, because this can threaten future water interactions. I can see if we don't use all our water sometime down the road that they might even target part of our allocation. That's not out of the question. So this is a very important piece to start our process of resolutions against this particular situation. One silver lining to all this is that if the political machine is so strong for the Indian tribe transaction, we might be able to piggyback onto that, and maybe we can reserve some excess water from the CRIT as well, given the price, because it's going to be high, it's high priority water, but it would protect us from long-term shortage situations down the line. Things to explore. So I just want to let you know these are brand new developments to us, at least for the last week, about the last week. So I just want to at least let everyone know that this is going to be a long haul, but it's moving in that particular direction. So to approve this resolution tonight will help our situation at this point in time.
Thank you. Are there any council questions, comments?
I do have a question, Madam Mayor, if I might.
Yes.
Dr. Wilson, do you think there's a chance that if we start uncorking the conversations and learning how to more accurately measure groundwater, subsurface water, that may be a spark to kind of convince people trying to get surface water rights to be even more aggressive than they already are?
Are you talking about our area or back in central Arizona, as far as the groundwater is concerned?
No, could be groundwater, I suppose, anywhere in the state.
Anywhere? Well, we have very limited supplies ourselves, so we're wholly dependent on the Colorado River at this point. And I think what this is really all about is central Arizona reaching out and making a sweeping raid on river water. And it doesn't matter what priority it really is. They're going to get whatever they can get. And as the old saying goes, water flows towards money. And so it's going to happen that direction, I'm afraid.
Can I restate my question maybe?
Sure.
That's great. And we know how important the surface water rights are and totally agree with, everything in that regard. I guess what I was driving at is when we look at things like the Grace Mission, that shows us that we've lost over 2.5 times the volume of the water in Lake Mead in a 9-year period. That research does not require a bunch of different municipalities and states and other entities to report because it's something we're able to obtain from satellite. So now this is the first time we've ever actually been able to look at subsurface water, and we realize what we have as a crisis. You mentioned organizations that are basically selling water rights. They could be producing alfalfa, for example, in La Paz County, great example, and basically using unregulated water, unreported water, because they can drill down freely and access all the water they want to grow alfalfa, which is then shipped back to Saudi Arabia to produce milk. So effectively, it's a way of exporting water, in a manner of speaking. There's a lot of these sorts of activities, and I guess my question was, we know we need to protect the surface water, great resolution, but I was wondering if you can, offer a comment on, do you think the conversation is going to get even harder still once we start actually talking honestly and openly about what we're doing with groundwater supplies?
Well, that's actually been the problem for a very, very long time. In the Phoenix area, Tucson area, groundwater levels had dropped dramatically. Surface subsidence had taken place, but that's not the only place in the country. A lot of major cities, even in wet areas like Houston and San Francisco, they have had the same situation. So groundwater has been highly dependent upon for a long, long time. Our 1980 Groundwater Act in Arizona has helped to stem that tide and actually put water back in the ground, and that's what Central Arizona Project and its members have done over the last, since the late 90s. And so they have approximately 4.5 million acre feet of storage right now in the ground. And one of the problems is that the excess water that they receive through the canal system, that's going to go away because of various contracts and usages in the upper basin. And as that goes away, that's a threat to them to store more water. Right. So in a way, it's not that the cities are going to go run dry by any means. They've got probably 8 or 9 years worth of water in the ground at least. But what they want to do is store more, like a squirrel, store more nuts in the ground as much as they can. And that's what this is all about. So this is an early stage, I think, of really ramping up I look at it like an octopus in a way, like LA has been over the years, taking water from all parts of its state and beyond. So yeah, the groundwater piece, to me, they're going to be able to take some water out of the ground all the time, but that has decreased dramatically over the years. And by law in our state, it has to be that way. Each city has to maintain a usage to 2025. They have to meet by 2025 a sustainable use of groundwater, not to let it shrink, but hopefully to grow their levels if they can. So it just depends. If we run out of water in the river, then they have no choice but to go to groundwater. It's just like the Central Valley of California. They keep drawing it down.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, I'll open it up to public hearing. Any questions from the public? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council.
Madam Mayor, I'll move that we accept this resolution.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion and second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, Kelly? Call for the vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our final public hearing of the evening, item 8.5, approval of professional services agreement with Southwest Behavioral Health Services for substance abuse and behavioral health treatment services for veterans treatment courts in conjunction with the SAMHSA grant. Judge Kalali, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor and council members. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Hopefully it won't take that long. We've been very efficient tonight, and I would hate for me to be the one that bogs everybody down. This is part of the grant process, and we had sent out letters of interest for this portion of the grant, which is the treatment services portion. There was only one applicant, that was Southwest Behavioral Health. We have an ongoing relationship with them and are looking forward to working with them in the program. The director of their treatment services is here and is ready to answer a lot of questions. I know she's looking forward to that. Hopefully you don't have any questions for her. And we're looking forward to continuing the program and implementing the grant. The amount is somewhere around $150,000 a year in treatment services. There are other portions of the grant, but this is one that needed to come to City Council for your approval.
Thank you. Are there any council questions?
If I may, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I was wondering, I was looking at Exhibit 1 under Section 1, and there's a couple things in there that are interesting to me. You probably know about it. I just want to ask a quick question. One was, I find it interesting that they can provide available or coordinated viral hepatitis testing. I mean, that's proactive. That's good, but...
Well, and it's also part of, it's a requirement of the grant itself to do that, so we did have to make sure that they were able to do that.
I was wondering, because I was thinking social services, hepatitis.
Right.
I didn't know how that went together. So it's a public health initiative that the grant's, sort of supporting at the same time. Okay, so we're going to do services to a minimum of 43 veteran participants.
Correct.
Those will be coming from here and Kingman, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, okay. And I think I remember from the last meeting, the mayor had asked, does it matter which cities? We just want to treat the veterans, and
absolutely,
it's not impressive to us which city it's from. We want to fill those spots.
Exactly.
If we run out of space, we'll figure out what to do after
exactly.
that. We probably. What is your projection on that 43 veteran participants? What does that look like in your estimation?
Have 65 in our program now. We have 65 and have 5 in the pipe. So we're looking at 70 on our side, and we're averaging between 50 and 60 a year. Depending on how quickly they progress through the program, that will determine what our amount is. Kingman right now, I believe, has somewhere between 7 and 10, but Kingman has also entered into an agreement with the justice courts to post-adjudicated bring them into their program up there. And what I can tell you about the justice courts is they about have double the number of veterans coming through their courts as we do here in Lake Havasu. So I'm excited about that, just that it could be, we could use the entire amount of the funds fairly quickly, which is our hope. I mean, we really do hope that we can reach as many veterans as possible, and I will tell you truthfully that my hope is that we can get this to the county level in all jurisdictions, including Superior Court, sometime within the next 3 to 5 years.
Thank you, Judge, and I'm sure everybody would support you in that. That's a great objective. Finally, and I'll keep it short because I know other people may have questions. It's just a small one. It's number 9 there. Attend established monthly meetings to discuss new treatment options, concerns, and internal improvements. That's like the total quality management piece there, but can you speak to that? What does that look like? Because I'm sure those things have to change quite a bit, and you guys have to be dynamic in how you respond.
So part of what we already have done and are continuing to do is we have monthly meetings with the different treatment providers individually to discuss what are the treatments that they're utilizing. We go to a lot of different meetings, trainings, things like that to learn ourselves what are the latest treatments that are available, and then making sure that our veterans are getting the best service that they can. So the idea is to make sure that we all stay on the same page and we all are where we need to be with what is the best treatment that's out there.
Thank you, Judge. That concludes my questions, Madam Mayor.
Are there any other council questions? Seeing none, we'll open up to the public hearing. Any members of the public wish to comment or questions on this? Seeing none, we'll bring it back.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion on this.
Please.
I'll move that we approve the professional services agreement with Southwest Behavioral Health Services Incorporated for substance abuse and behavioral health treatment services for veteran treatment courts in conjunction with the SAMHSA grant.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any further council discussion?
Yeah, do you need me to amend that for an amount?
What
Be happy to
staff-
make a friendly amendment if you need
No,
it.
it's not necessarily the amount that we're concerned with, but what we did, we added the options to renew. So we added authorization in for staff to be able to renew this for each year of the grant without having to come back to council each year. Since they're allocated by the grant, those amounts, we didn't feel that it was necessary to come back every year, so we included that specifically in the suggested motion. So
Oh, I don't have the suggestion motion in front of me. Could you read the language of that piece that's of interest to you? Because I'll just take that as a friendly amendment, and then we can put it on that way.
yep, if you could just amend your motion to this motion and then resecond it, would be great.
I have it here in front of me. So let me change the motion, essentially. We could call it a friendly amendment, but really I'm just going to read it from the beginning of the suggested motion. Thank you, Mr. Cassens. So I move to approve and authorize the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Southwest Behavioral Health Services Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $112,530 annually, and further authorize city staff to exercise the options to renew for 2 additional and 1-year terms contingent on receiving the allotted grant funding. A much better motion, if I might say so myself. And does that capture everything we need to for our purposes?
I need it to be reseconded.
I will resecond it with the new amended motion.
We have a motion and a resecond. Are there any further questions, comments? Kelly, you can call for the roll.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council current events. Are there any council committee reports this evening? Seeing none, we'll go to our final call of the public for the evening. If there's any members of the public that have any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Future meetings, Tuesday, October 10th, 2017 at 6 p.m. we have a regular meeting. Tuesday, October 24th, 2017 at 6 p.m. we also have a regular meeting. Are there any future agenda items from any council members? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
So move. Meeting adjourned.